Hey everybody, and aloha! This week we return back to the motocross world, specifically trials. The National Championship Motor Trials Series is going right now, and Mr. Karl Davis Jr. has won a couple events, been on the leaderboard for several, and continues to pursue that championship. Right now, I'm going to share with you the interview that we did before he began that series. And if you're one of the 4,500 plus people that follow him on Instagram or the many other social media outlets, he is no stranger. This man is a champion many times over and has more to offer than just motorcycle riding, although you be the judge of that. Without further ado, Mr. Karl Davis Jr.
Yeah, awesome. Welcome. My guest is Karl Davis Jr. today. Junior, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. So we'll get right to it. We've known each other for about a year and a half now, or a little more.
Say, yeah.
Something like that.
Whole time you've been here.
Yeah, good times. So we'll start at the beginning. Tell me where you were born.
I was born in Ormond Beach, Florida in June of 1992. So
Ormond Beach.
Ormond Beach.
Ormond Beach, okay.
Yeah, just north of
South
Daytona.
Florida?
It's central Florida, but just north of Daytona Beach. So.
Okay, nice. And then lived there, like born and raised, still?
Yeah, I lived there pretty much until I was about like 16, 17, 18-ish. And then I kind of started hitting the road riding more. I just kind of, that's all I wanted to do, especially when I was done with school and all that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ride. So I've always been in and out of there, but then especially the last 5, 6 years now, I wouldn't consider myself a Floridian because I've literally spent every week of every year on the road riding or working with Marvel.
Fair enough. Mom and dad still live there?
Yeah, my parents still live there.
House you grew up in?
House I grew up in, still there.
Yeah, nice. Siblings?
Yeah, I've got 2 brothers and a sister.
Okay.
We're all younger than me. I'm the eldest of 4.
You're the oldest of 4.
Oldest of 4. So.
Where does sister fall in the line?
She's the youngest.
Ah, so. 3 boys, finally got a girl.
Yeah.
Was that kind of the plan? Do you know, like trying for a girl and then finally got one?
I think it was just me and my younger brother, not my youngest, were the only planned ones, and then I think the other 2 were surprises. So
that's such a nicer way to say accident. They're surprises.
Yeah,
a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is there quite an age gap between you and your sister then?
Yeah, I think it's like 12 years.
Wow. Okay.
So
fair enough. Nice. It's something that some families are very well planned out, and others surprise.
Yeah.
No problem. So tell me about your parents. What does your dad do?
My dad is an automotive mechanic.
Okay.
But he grew up racing motorcycles. Like that's what he did when he was a kid.
Okay.
In the 80s, he was a professional enduro racer in New England. Both my parents are from New England. They're from Massachusetts.
Okay.
And I think they actually met in Florida. I don't know that whole story, but I think they both met in Florida somehow. And my mom, she, once I was born, she started taking care of me. And then right after me, we had my other brother. So she kind of actually became a stay-at-home mom for the most part because before she knew it, she had 3 boys running rampant around the house.
Yeah.
And we're kind of a handful.
Yeah.
So, she did that, and my sister came along, and so she kind of took care of us, and my dad was able to provide for the family with his shop.
Nice. So then after racing, he just kind of transitioned into mechanic work as naturally, it seems, or?
Yeah, he actually went to school to be an aviation mechanic.
Oh,
from
wow.
what I've been told.
Okay.
He's told me he went to
yeah.
school to be an aviation mechanic, and then it was so hard to get a job in that industry, he just kind of started working on cars. And eventually he opened up a shop. He got, I think, money from my mom's dad helps him buy the shop that he owns now.
Nice.
Back in, before they had me, so probably the late 80s.
Okay.
And so they did that, and he's been a mechanic ever since.
Okay.
Shop right there, right on the beach in Ormond Beach.
Nice. So, mom did she ride as well before being a stay-at-home mom, or?
No, she never rode. Honestly, she went to school actually, I think, to be a pilot. She went to Embry-Riddle. That's how she ended up in Daytona. She went to Embry-Riddle University, and she went to school to be a pilot. And I'm not sure how far she got with that, but I know she flew some smaller planes.
Yeah,
but that's about all I know.
Never took you up in the plane? Or
no, never.
That was before.
Yeah, it was before my time.
Okay, fair enough. So now your youngest sister, how old is she?
She is 15. Yeah, she gets her driver's license this next year, so she's 15.
Watch out. Nice. Well, so then she's obviously still at home then. I was kind of trying to get a timeline of and now the kids are all gone, but
Yeah.
she's still very much working hard at being a stay-at-home mom. So.
Yeah. She does a lot of other things now. She's involved with like her gym. She does like I think some training with her gym back home. And yeah, my sister's the last one, and then in the cluster's still there.
Yeah.
So my other brothers, one's off to college, one's got a family going in Colorado. So
Okay, so they've spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
Where's your brother in college?
he's actually at Florida State up in Tallahassee.
Okay.
So
So
you-
close, but not too close.
Yeah, not too close. Like
Yeah.
3 hours, 4 hours from home. So.
Sure. He'll come home on the weekends if
Yeah.
he needs to. Nice. Okay. And then you said Colorado?
Yeah.
Your other brother.
Yeah, he lives out in Colorado Springs.
Okay, so he's distanced himself, and then you traveling the world have kind of, I suppose you always come back, but
Every once in a while.
yeah, fair enough. Nice. So tell me about your childhood. Born and raised in Florida. Was that something that you were always like that outdoor guy? Did you play a lot of video games? I know you mentioned you. I mean, because of our history, but not for everybody. But you obviously ride.
Yeah.
Anything with a wheel on it. So walk me through that. How did you get into that?
Yes, I grew up, and I was always just like an outdoor kind of kid. Like we always had bicycles, and I remember growing up. The first house I grew up at, my dad had all these trophies next to his bed from racing.
Okay.
And I thought that was the coolest thing, and like I just wanted to be like Dad. I wanted to ride
Sure.
and be good at it. Like that's all I wanted to do, and like I always was bugging for a bike. I think as a kid growing up, and like I don't think my mom was all about it at first. Kind of dangerous. And
When you say bike, you don't mean bicycle.
yeah, I mean motorcycle.
Motorcycle,
Like
sure.
I always wanted to ride. That
Right.
was in my blood from like the moment I saw those trophies and like knew
Yeah.
what my dad did. Once I knew my dad's history, I was like, I want to be like Dad.
All in, yeah. Okay.
I'm named after him, so I think as a kid that was a big influence as well.
Sure,
It's like,
absolutely.
I want to be just like Dad.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that had a big influence on me just seeing that growing up, and I wanted to ride. That was it. I rode my bicycles all the time. I'd be out in the yard practicing bunny hops on that and whatnot. And I think I was 11 or 12. I remember it like clear as day, like how it all went down. My mom went to see her family in Boston. It was just me, my dad, and my brother at the house. And yeah, I remember my dad found like the perfect bike on don't know what it was at the time, maybe like Cycle Trader magazine or whatever.
Oh, okay.
In Florida somewhere. So we drove over to pick it up, and it was old Yamaha TY80, like an old, vintage small wheeled bike.
Okay.
And like he brought it home. I don't think my mom knew at the time anything. And then I remember like getting on it. My dad started it, and I just grabbed a handful of throttle, like your classic first time on the bike. Looped it out, scratched my shin.
Yeah.
Like got a big cut on my shin. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I was like hooked from then on.
So it didn't distract you or deter you, the injury.
Not at all. It was just like this is awesome. Like
Nice.
this is fun. And my other brother went the opposite way. He hopped on the bike and he crashed into the fence, and he was scared. He didn't want anything to do with it. But I saw that and I was like, this is gonna be fun.
Nice.
And I remember like the whole weekend my mom was gone, just like literally riding circles in the grass until it was dead. Like the grass was just dead.
Okay.
And
Nice.
that's all I did for I'd say a few weeks. It was just like riding our yard, because we have a riding area across the street my dad would ride at, but it's across like a highway, US 1. And I couldn't really ride over there yet. I was not capable of making it across the highway alive.
Yeah, 11,
But,
12 years old. That's
Yeah.
seems risky. Yeah.
But yeah, so I just beat the grass until it was dead.
Man.
So
then brother got kind of scared away from that. Has he or any of your other siblings come back to that and ride at all, or is it? Just
it's funny you say that, because both of my brothers actually crashed into the same fence. Like the other brother eventually got a bike, crashed in the fence. They're both scared of. I think that thing shuddered, but
Sounds like it.
they were both scared, and yeah, so they didn't want to ride for a long time, but eventually they kind of eased into it.
Okay.
And they rode a little bit. Like they would start riding like the local series in Florida, and they were both very naturally talented athletes. Like, I think out of my family, I'm the least naturally talented. Out of my three brothers, like I have to work really, really hard to progress, especially in riding or anything really. And they were like, they would hop on a bike and just be like, they'd get better at it without riding. They'd ride the competitions and be better than they were before. While me, I bust my ass and all the way through, and I feel like my progression wasn't as much. So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad I'm glad and sad that they never rode. I wish I would have had someone to push me, but at the same time, I feel like if they would have rode, they would have been better than me.
Do you think that would have discouraged you from riding?
I don't think it would have discouraged me. I just think it would have made me mad.
Maybe motivated you.
Maybe motivate me more because
Yeah.
I do get motivated that way.
That's awesome. Okay. So, I mean, you have to have just tons and tons of fond memories of riding. Tell me about your earliest childhood memory. I mean, does it involve a bicycle, or what do you remember really, really young?
My earliest childhood memory. I think my earliest memory I ever remember was falling into our pool when I was really, really young. This is how my dad would teach us to stay away from the pool. Fall away from the pool, and they'd let us like sink to the bottom of it. That's what I remember.
Father, yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Sink to the bottom, so you'd sink or swim.
yeah.
literally.
Well, you'd sink, so you'd be scared of going near the pool. And that scared me from freaking water for a long time. I didn't ever want to learn how to swim.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took me a while to get used to the water. I mean, I grew up in Florida, which I'm about 2 miles from the ocean, straight across from the ocean. I grew up on a river, like the Intercoastal, with a pool. Never wanted anything to do with the water.
Nothing. Wow. Traumatizing, but effective, I guess.
Yeah, my poor dad. My dad loved being on the water. Like we have stand-up jet skis and wakeboards. We have ski boats and all that. And my dad always wanted us to go in the water, and I never wanted anything to do with it. Like,
No.
I think if I were maybe a little more ease into it, I may have been a professional wakeboarder or something. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? That's funny, man. So then, growing up in Florida, how was school? I mean, the climate's just begging you to play outside, and
Yeah, it's funny you say that. So my high school is actually on the beach. It's called Seabreeze High School.
Seabreeze High School.
Seabreeze High School.
That sounds like a fictional TV series.
It really is. Like it's like a 2-story school. There's all outdoor hallways. There's no walls. It's all outdoors.
Nice.
You park your car on the freaking beach to go to school. So like it's very appetizing to be outside all the time.
Sure,
And it's
yeah.
just yeah.
Did you find it hard to focus and study then?
I never really did that. Like
I guess if you didn't like the ocean.
I never really like school wasn't my thing. Like it was very easy for me.
Okay.
Like education, especially like, your basic education came very, very simple. Like I never had to study or read or do anything like through my entire career of that. Mm-hmm. Math was like second nature. So like I never had to try in school. So I only had to really focus on motorcycles. That's all I wanted to focus on.
Fair enough.
I was kind of glad that school came so easy.
And then, so you were a good student.
Yeah, I was a pretty good student. Like I get my good grade. If I didn't get good grades, I couldn't ride.
Right.
So
Fair enough. That's motivation.
Well, motivation, but the good thing is I didn't have to try to get good grades. It was their school system was pretty easy, I thought.
Absolutely. Nice. Sorry, I'm just check this real
Yeah,
quick.
you're fine.
It looks like everything's good. So.
Cool.
Anyway, cool. So, a random question, but let's rewind back to let's say high school. If I were to speak to your classmates, how would they describe you?
Probably quiet.
Yeah, really.
I honestly, especially in high school, I don't think I really had too many close friends. Like I had some, but like I didn't really hang out with people that much. I was definitely like, I guess more of a black sheep because I literally wanted to just ride. Like it was like after school, go home and ride. I would have pictures of like my riding area. I'd draw pictures of my riding area and like draw lines that I wanted to do when I got home, and that's all I would do. And that was pretty much it. Like,
okay. So no extracurriculars. You were in like the band or sports.
There was not one extracurricular I ever did. There was never one time I stayed after school or did anything like that.
Do your siblings follow that same kind of pattern? They're pretty.
No, my middle brother, yes, he kind of did his own thing. He was never in any school stuff. Mm-hmm. But my little brother, he was like he was super into soccer. He did a bunch of like club soccer leagues, and I think he even had scholarships to go to school for that and play it for teams and whatnot. But yeah, he was the one who was the more extracurricular guy. I don't know where he got that from. He's very outgoing. Like, I mean, I guess now that I've broken out of my mold, I'm outgoing, but he's just
natural.
You're natural. Like he's always been that way.
So does he play at Florida State?
No, actually, that school doesn't have a male soccer program. He went there on an academic scholarship. And he's a genius as well. He's super smart.
Nice, good.
I know
double threat.
That school has like the top women's soccer team in the nation. Mm-hmm. So he helps coach and train them, or at least he was doing that.
Okay. So he's still involved.
Yeah, he still plays, but not like for any league or anything.
Right. Well, scholarships aside, if you got a full academic, then
Yeah, he's
still getting
he's
college paid
really
for.
smart.
That's awesome. Well, so I know you said you didn't really like kind of get involved in the school scene, but do you remember any particular teachers that were influential in your life, or?
Yeah, I remember one in particular. He was my aerospace teacher, and I guess maybe it goes back.
Aerospace, that's quite a class.
Yeah, it was an amazing class, but I think it goes back to maybe relating to my parents and their aerospace backgrounds.
Okay.
But like the teacher was awesome. Like he was a very mechanical guy. I think because his brainwave was the same as mine. Like,
Yeah.
And it's like I knew a lot about motors going into his class, so he, I guess he knew that about me, and we could talk motors and how they worked and stuff.
Sure.
From my dad, he taught me a lot about how a motor works, and I had to work on my own bikes as a kid growing up because my dad would make me.
Right.
But yeah, he was very educational, not even on just on motors, but just like life in general. He was a pretty big influence, I think.
That's awesome. In addition to that, so I mean, you have these obviously very active and involved parents, teachers obviously help mold you and involve you as well. Growing up with all these influences, did you always know that you wanted to ride professionally, or did you have other goals? I mean, every kid seems like, I want to be a firefighter, astronaut, whatever. Did that ever cross your mind, or were you just in the zone and tunnel vision the whole time?
Yeah, I honestly just like, I don't think I ever necessarily wanted to make a living riding, but I knew that's all I wanted to do. I don't know. It's like, it made me so happy that
Sure.
like, that's the only thing I really knew I wanted to do. And I remember my mom was always like, you have to go to school, you have to get a job. And I like would tell her like, yeah, like I know, eventually like that'll happen. I just having so much fun riding right now.
Right.
And like my end goal was to just do nothing but ride. And I honestly like, I don't know how I ever expected to make money doing it, but I was just like, no, I'm just gonna ride. Like that's it. Like in my head, I wanted to ride, and it's never changed. It still hasn't changed. Like I still want to see where I can take my career with a motorcycle, and like I'm making money now doing it, and I enjoy it, and I love it. So
Nice. That's awesome. I've often heard, you find something you love to do and then figure out a way to get paid to do it. Right?
Yeah.
So that seems like you reverse engineered that
yeah,
really
actually,
well.
like that more or less fell into my lap is getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
And it was, I think it was just all the work you put in. It's kind of hard not to get paid to do it.
Absolutely. So then, for those who don't know and are maybe ignorant to what's going on here, tell me or tell us a little bit about what it is that you do for a living. What is your job? What is it that you do?
Currently, I'm working on Marvel Universe Live as a stunt performer, touring the world, and putting on shows every single weekend of the year, just about, and having fun doing it.
So the uniqueness of your position within the show is not only you're a motorcycle rider, but you also double as a stuntman as well. But did you have any training in that before this show? I mean, you've been on the show for a couple years. Did you go like to any stunt schools or anything like that to prepare, or how did that work?
Absolutely not. I got a phone call from Feld. It was I believe our old company manager, or I think our old company manager gave me a phone call about coming onto the show.
Okay.
And I had zero background or anything other than riding motorcycles, and I came out here and pretty much had to learn everything from the ground up, like all of the falls and the flips and stuff. Luckily, I grew up with a trampoline, so I grew up like learning how to flip and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But no, parents had to learn how to fight, kick. I remember my groin would get so tight during all these rehearsals because, like, you're a motorcycle rider, you're squeezing all the time, and having to kick, like, my groin would be so sore, and like, I could barely walk through all these rehearsals. But no, I just developed all the skills being here, and I wouldn't say I'm the best stuntman by any means. Like, riding's my forte, but I've molded into somewhat of a stuntman.
Well, having seen the show more than a couple times, I'd say you definitely could add that to your resume and be confident that you can do that no problem, for sure. So then you joined the show. You stayed for such a long time. Is there anything outside of riding that keeps you here? Like, what attracts you to this and what keeps you here if you had to identify something other than the obvious that you get to ride motorcycles and get paid for it?
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly the biggest thing, and we get quite a bit of downtime to go ride as much as I want, really.
Okay.
But the other thing would be like just the people and the travel. Like I enjoy the people I work with. Like there's some of the most talented people I've ever met, and a lot of them are super hardworking. It's motivating to be around that. I feel like it's made me a better person just being here around everyone. Everyone's got great attitudes, and it's easy to pick and choose who you want to hang out with to better yourself. So.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So then for those that are watching or considering something like this, I mean, obviously you didn't go into this with this plan that this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do it. There has to be hundreds, maybe even more people that love riding bicycles, motorcycles, unicycles, four-wheelers, whatever it is, and say, man, I would love to do something like that. If you were to give an opportunity to speak to someone like that, what advice would you give someone that's looking to do something like this?
What advice would I give them? That's a tricky one.
Is there anything you can do?
I mean, just work hard at what you're doing, and just talk to the right people, I guess. I mean, honestly, this fell into my lap, so I don't even know how I got here. Like, I got here through knowing Louise, and that's how I ended up here. So
it was a referral almost.
A referral, yeah. It's okay. This job literally, or what I'm doing, fell into my lap, and it's led me to more things than I could ever imagine, and I'm happy it happened because my mind's open to doing a lot more with motorcycles other than just competing.
Absolutely. Well, and I spoke to Louise because she had said that the idea that you could potentially take something and make a career of it, but then, as you said, she made the same comment. It opens up so many opportunities or ideas that you maybe wouldn't have considered before. So the people watching maybe can reverse engineer that and say, well, there's motorcycle riders in all these live shows. I mean, coming from Florida, there's so many live shows, whether they're stunts or not necessarily circus per se. I mean, they do have them, but with stunt shows and just shows in general. But I mean, you find gigs seemingly with ease now.
Yeah.
Is that something that's for the casual rider or when someone's trying to do that? Is that quite a task to find those gigs and find that stuff, or if you know the right place to look?
It's all about. I think it's comes down to like knowing the right place to look and knowing the right people.
Okay.
Having the connections. Being here, I've met so many big stunt guys and other people who run shows that like feel like it'd be kind of easy to find something else now. Like once you get your foot in the door, I feel like a whole world opens to you that you just never even knew existed. Especially growing up riding motorcycles.
Right. So then you talked about your dad riding enduro, right? Mm-hmm. But you're more of a trial specialist, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a quick Google search will reflect that you have a very decorated career in trials riding. For those who don't know, walk me through 30-second explanation of what trials riding is, as opposed to enduro, for example, that your dad did.
Yeah, trials riding is it's pretty much parkour on a dirt bike. It's the best way I can explain it. It's taking a motorcycle and taking it over the toughest obstacles you can take it over. I mean, it's really finding your limits every single time. Taking dirt bikes up big rocks, big logs, huge hills without putting your feet down. It's a lot like golf in the way it's scored. Putting your feet down counts as points, and points are bad. So you want to have
low score.
Low score.
Okay. So. Can you get a minus like in golf?
No, there's no minuses.
Okay.
Zero's the best you can get.
Zero's perfect.
Yeah, zero's perfect.
Okay, so just because you throw in a trick while you're doing something like that doesn't get you...
Yeah, it doesn't get you anything down. So, but you want to get as close to zero as possible. That's always the goal.
Okay, fair enough. So then you ride in a competition, for example. These are predetermined courses that you're to follow. You don't freestyle or anything.
Yeah, there's no freestyle going on. There's all predetermined. There's markers forcing you where to go.
Okay.
And there's obviously different classes, starting from like a novice all the way to a pro line in each zone.
And did you personally progress through that sequence quite quickly, or did it take you a while to get up to the professional level?
It was pretty fast. I think I started when I was 11.
Okay.
And 11 or 12, and by the time I was riding the top, riding with the best, I was 16 or 17.
Okay, so that is quite quick.
Yeah. And it was a lot of work, but
yeah. Well, if that's all you're doing every day, then
yeah,
I can imagine the countless hours that you've put in.
Yeah.
My goodness. So you obviously have worked with this show for a long time. You were in the trial circuit for a very long time, and you've done all of these things, which begs the question: do you have any nicknames?
Nicknames. Back in the day, they used to call me Stearns, which is my middle name.
Stearns?
Stearns.
Okay.
Yeah, so Stearns. And that's the only nickname that I really know. Like, yeah, I get my basics like Carrot Tops every now and then, or
being redheaded, sure,
Ginger, or whatever. Yeah, so
yeah.
But no, people just call me Karl.
Okay, fair enough. Usually, there's some like, I always think like, oh, maybe there's some embarrassing story, or you did something that merited a nickname, because we always say like, you don't usually get to pick your nickname.
Yeah, it's just given,
thrust upon you. Yeah, fair enough. So then, to follow up with that, along with kind of growing up and being part of a, relatively decent-sized family of 5, if we were to speak to your mom, because I know my mom does this all the time, she always has, to be fair, my dad as well. They always tell the same stories.
Yeah.
Right? Your friends come over, girlfriend, whatever, and like, oh, I got to tell you this story, right? So if I said, Mom, tell me a great story about Karl, what do you think her go-to story is?
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know.
Nothing where you've, ran out and just caused mischief or something like that. And
I don't know. I should probably just tell you how obsessed I was with a bike. Like, it's all
bill you off.
All I did was like ride. Like, it's all I wanted to do. So.
Nice. Okay, so then let's do this. 12-year-old Karl, right?
Yeah.
Rewind X amount of years. Walk me through your perfect day as a 12-year-old.
As like a riding 12-year-old or before bikes?
Either, you pick.
I mean,
let's say riding. Yeah.
Perfect day.
Wake up, what do you do?
Wake up early, ride before school.
Wait, what's early for a 12-year-old for you?
Probably like 6 maybe.
Okay, all right.
Try and go ride before school and go to school, get that all done with, come home and ride again.
So you'd include school in your perfect day. It wouldn't be a summer.
I mean, if it was a summer day.
Pick it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Summer day would just honestly just be ride all day. Like,
yeah.
There's nothing else I'd want to do.
Breakfast? You a big breakfast guy?
Yeah.
What's your perfect breakfast?
I mean, eggs and avocados. So.
Eggs and avocados. A lot of avocados in Florida?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I actually didn't get too into avocados until like probably 4 or 5 years ago. When I was a kid, I didn't really know anything about them.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch or something.
Yeah, Cinnamon Toast Crunch probably.
Yeah, fair enough. And then, so you ride all day. How do you end your night as a 12-year-old?
How do I end my night? Oh, definitely watching riding videos.
Yeah,
like
VHS.
Yeah, I have had like every VHS of every like world championship like that happened, and I would literally watch those on repeat.
Yeah, are they all worn out now?
Probably, yeah. Then I got the DVDs, and like literally that's all I would do at night, is just watch those so I could wake up and ride again.
Is that something that like in the summertime you'd just stay up to all hours of the night?
Yeah, for sure. Like I'd watch that all the time. This was like before YouTube was big. Like you didn't have an iPad or iPhone sitting there.
Right, yeah.
So you just have to put it in, and then you watch this really cool segment, so you have to rewind. Like one of my teammates, Pat Smodgy, like he's like huge influence on me. Like he's so innovative in riding. One of the most innovative trials riders I've ever met, and he put out this DVD probably when I was like 14 or 15, and it was just mind-blowing the stuff he was doing. And then I can't tell you how many times I've watched his DVD. It's called Next Up.
Next Up. Okay.
And I still to this day can watch it and like just learn so much from it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you'd think, I mean, as a bystander outside of the trials world, from what I've seen you personally do in everything that I've watched, it sounds foolish to say, but like I feel like you kind of mastered everything, but that seems far from the truth based on what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, in the States here, there's like the level's pretty high, but it's not what it is overseas in the World Championships. Okay. The guys over in Spain, France, where the trials industry really thrives, like they can do things that you literally couldn't imagine, like you couldn't think it up.
Yeah.
And they can do it. And we have one rider over here, Pat, who can kind of ride at that level, and that's where he is. That's where he's. You just can't imagine the things that they can do.
That makes me.
And that's me. Like I
impressive.
can't fathom what they can do, and consider myself an established trials rider.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't argue that in any measure, man. So then, it sounds like 10-year-old you isn't that different from current you.
Not at all. Not at all. Nothing's changed.
Not that you haven't grown up, but
yeah,
your life is very similar.
Nothing's changed. A perfect day for me is going out riding. That's how it's been every day.
Okay.
As soon as we wrap up here this week, and flying back to the States, and first thing I'm gonna do is go ride all day. Be in Phoenix Desert, and we're gonna ride all day the next day, and it's gonna be it all the way through the summer.
So then I know, like you mentioned Phoenix, and you travel a considerable amount outside of the show as well. We as a show travel all the time, but then you choose to continue to travel. Is that because the different terrains and altitudes and courses and things like that are so diverse that you need to? Or could you, in theory, find similar things in Florida, for example?
Florida's Florida's not the best place. I never wanted to live in Florida. Like,
Okay.
that's another thing. I hated being in Florida because the riding was so flat.
Oh, okay.
Especially once I started traveling with riding and getting tastes of other places. So I was like, why do we live in Florida? Like, this place sucks. Like, the riding is terrible. I'm riding on little sand dunes and concrete slabs. But no, I love to travel just to ride my bike in different places. I love being outdoors and, you know, being out on a trials bike in the woods or the desert. You really get to explore and be like with nature, and it's like,
Sure.
and I love riding alone. Like, I do my best riding when I'm by myself. I love riding with people, but when I'm by myself is when I thoroughly enjoy everything.
That's really interesting because you talk to many athletes, and I think you're no different, that you always talk about getting in the zone, right? And everything kind of just mutes.
Yeah.
It's just you and the court or the pool or the field or the course that you're riding or just nature in general. Do you find that even with people or without people, you're able to slip into that pretty quickly, or does that take you a while to get to that point?
When I'm alone, it's instant.
Yeah.
When I'm with people, it's harder. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I grew up riding by myself every single day. Like, just about every single day I grew up riding alone, and I got used to that.
Right.
And so when I do that, it's no problem. But when I'm with people, it takes a little longer.
Right.
Still don't know how to act, like, ride with people properly. I'm just like, you know, do I stop and talk to you? Do I just keep riding? Because I could easily just ignore you for the next 5 hours and ride.
Just
like,
ride.
So
That's really funny. I didn't consider, because again, the traditional sports, usually team sports, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have this swimming and tennis and like I said, individual sports, if you will. But even track and field can be very much a team effort, whether it's running, throwing, or otherwise. So these individual sports, skateboarding or biking or whatever, it never crossed my mind that you would, not that you're socially inept, but the ability to know socially in that setting, like, okay, how do I interact with you? Because I kind of want to do my own thing, but I don't want to be a jerk or whatever as well.
Yeah.
That sounds like it'd be a struggle for most. So you're probably not alone in that.
yeah, probably not. I mean, I know a lot of people ride together. A lot of people don't like to ride alone.
Okay.
That's the thing. But, you know, just all I want to do is just ride alone.
Fair enough. So tell me a little bit about your team now, and who you're involved with.
Yeah, so riding for Factory One Moto Trials, which is Factory One's a new headline sponsor for our team.
Okay.
Which, you know, under that's Ryan Young Products. And I've been riding for Ryan Young Products for the last 10 years now. It's going to be my 10th year with these guys. They import most of the stuff for the trials industry. They're like the big American importers for Sherco and Scorpio motorcycles and a lot of the accessories and parts that we use for the sport.
Okay.
So I've had the opportunity to work and ride with them for the last 10 years, like I said, with my team managers, Ryan Young and Brad Baumert. These guys have supported me since I was a little kid, and
Day one.
you know,
Nice.
Day one, and it's been great. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
they're based out of Shelbyville, Kentucky.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they're based out of Kentucky.
Okay.
So it's been a great relationship since the beginning.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it's always nice to have support, especially not only financially, obviously, to kind of help you out with your bikes and parts and things like that, but the personal support, right? I mean, if you've established a relationship for 10 plus years and you know these guys, they know your skill set, your commitment, et cetera, et cetera. How does that work with you traveling and stuff and being involved in, you know, everything that you do? Is that a challenge, or do you find that they're really helpful with that as well?
I find they're very accepting of it. I don't like compete for them as much as I used to, but at the same time, like we travel to all sorts of different areas of the country, like, you know, and I go and I ride on my off days. You know, every off day I'm riding, as you know, and I'm typically going on local Facebook groups of like the areas we're in for those riding clubs and getting a hold of people and riding with them. And I think that goes a long way with Ryan Young Products, is that I go ride with these people and, you know, spread the word about my team and, you know, what they can do and the accessories and parts you can buy from them. And, you know, so.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I kind of network in all around the country. And, you know, it is just to ride and the first and foremost, and it's also just to help out wherever I can.
Well, I was just going to say, it's a win-win for both of you in the event that, in the sense that you get to ride, you get to, you know, kind of get some help with all of the parts that you need and the bike. But then also, I mean, it seems invaluable, the advertising that they're getting, because, I mean, you always say you can't buy that kind of advertising. Maybe they can, but my goodness, the ability to have you not only riding with these components and parts and bikes, etc., but then speaking so highly of them all the time and promoting it.
Yeah, because there's nothing bad I can say about them. You know,
Yeah.
it's, honestly, they're family to me. So.
Well, knowing you for as long as I have, I don't imagine that you would be holding back. If there was something bad, you would know, and you wouldn't be shy about it. Like, okay, it's great, but this one thing, right? So that speaks volumes about Ryan Young and his products and the team.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Great guys.
How many riders do they have on the team?
I think currently right now there's 6 of us.
Okay.
6 of us on the full team.
So that's, I think, significant in the idea that, again, a traditional sports team, you only have 5 guys on the court for basketball, or 10 on the side, or 11 on the field, or whatever it is, right? So the is that a traditional number, or is that just...
We have a very large team.
Okay.
Which is, it's nice.
6 is large.
Yes, 6 is a very large team. Typically, your riding team consists of 2 people. But when I say team, it's not like we're not there to help each other. It's you.
So there's no team event as well.
It's not a team event. No, we're just riding for the same sponsors, promoting the same sponsors. We're all trying to beat each other. There's no, you have to prove yourself worthy to be on the team.
Right. Fair enough.
If you don't do well, next guy's in line to come and take your spot on the team.
Yeah, fair enough.
You want to beat your teammates.
Right. You don't want to be
You don't want to be at the bottom.
Yeah, in soccer they call it relegation. You're the bottom of the barrel, right?
Yeah,
and
so
you get dropped, nobody to sky.
Teammates isn't a good way to put it. Like we just ride for the same guys.
Yeah, fair
We're
enough.
all trying to beat each other.
So surely you at least you're obviously friends with all these guys, and so you hope for the best in their personal endeavors, but not against you.
Yeah, I hope for the best, but they better not be beating me.
Yeah. So. Beat all those other guys in the other teams, right? Stick with fair enough. That's awesome.
Kind of the mentality behind that. I think that goes for all the guys in the team. We're all good friends, but when it comes down to it, like, I'm gonna beat you.
I still want to beat you. That's funny. So being involved with your sponsors and your team and everything else, outside of that, can you tell me about anything that you particularly admire or really into? I know that that may be hard to identify, but we have so many influences in our life. Is there anything like that for you outside of riding that you find particularly inspiring, or anything?
Outside of riding, I don't know. I just kind of always found just athletes, like top level athletes in general, inspiring. Whether it be like LeBron James or athletes at that level at any sport, you're just like, it's just crazy how you can have those freaks of nature who are so much better than everyone else. And you're always trying to figure out their mindset and how they got to be so good and an elite. Because I think in every sport you have those elites, whether you're Cristiano Ronaldo or these top tennis players, top riders. Have the same thing. There's 4 or 5 guys who are just freaks of nature who no one can keep up with. So I've always found that inspiring.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so then I guess the other part of that is, which I've said it for, I've spoken to a lot of different people, especially within this show. So the common theme here, or we joke about, is it's kind of surrounded by nerds here, right? It's a superhero. I didn't grow up personally reading a lot of comics. I don't know if you did. Obviously, you're writing. You may not have even had time to. You're so involved. But do you feel like any of that's worn off on you?
Not really. I think I bought a Nintendo Switch because got bored at one point in the tour and I wanted something to do at night.
Yeah.
And I think I stopped playing it. I don't even know where it went. So I don't really have much nerd in me.
So you haven't turned into like playing Magic or, no disrespect to those guys.
Yeah, not at all.
Pokemon Go.
Just never really like drawn my attention. So it's
fair enough.
It's just riding.
You can't be broken.
Yeah, it's just, I know what I love, and I've loved it since I was a kid, and I'm going to stick with it.
Stay in your zone. Yeah, fair enough. That's funny. I know that my initial, reaction to this show as I was talking to people, before coming to Marvel, the idea that like Batman could have gotten in a fight with Spider-Man seemed totally plausible and reasonable, right? Like, they're both superheroes in comics, right? And that's blasphemous because it's DC and Marvel.
You start saying that, they'll start shooting you.
Yeah. Did you gain an education in that a lot as well?
I've gained education here. Like I've taken the time to see the Marvel movies now, and like they're good movies.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go out of my way to go see them, but like I enjoy them.
Buy the ultimate Blu-ray collection.
If there's something if there's a lot of downtime and I got a night or something, maybe I'll go to the movies and catch it or put it on the TV. But I'm not gonna really be like, all right, well I gotta go see the movie at 2:30. Like, no, go to the gym or ride. So.
Yeah, opening night, first thing.
Yeah.
You're not in line, dressed up for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's funny. So, obviously, as a writer, that's your world and that's your life, right? And going through all of this, there has to be tons of life lessons, right? And so, whether you be some of the people I've spoken to already, gymnasts or parkour athletes or dancers or whatever the case may be, what do you say, like, maybe what's the greatest life lesson that you've learned from writing? What has it taught you?
Definitely work ethic.
Okay.
Like, I think that's where, I love working, and I think that all derived from writing. I mean, as a kid, you grow up and you're just writing for fun.
Yeah.
And then eventually it turns into this job, and before you know it, like, you're working, but it doesn't feel like work. And it's how, like, all work kind of feels now. It's just because I put so much effort into writing. Like, I know there's not much more effort I could have put in. And, like, after working at that level for so long as a kid, like, I feel like I can take that work ethic into anything.
That's awesome.
And, all that has derived from my dad as well. Like, the guy works his ass off. So
That's massive. Always nice to have a positive influence like that and
Yeah.
help you grow.
yeah, for sure.
That's amazing.
But, yeah,
Cool.
It's been cool, just getting to take, that, and then take writing and take what you love so much and make a job out of it.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't feel like work.
enough.
Every day I go ride, it has never felt like it working.
Even better.
Yeah.
So, coming from the family that you have, and this may be well down the line, but is that something that's in the future plans? You plan to have a family at some point?
Yeah, I'd like to have kids at some point because I'd love to do the whole riding thing over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to ride, that's like amazing, and if not, then
Sure.
we'll find whatever they want to do. But,
Well, given your lifestyle, I imagine whomever you decide to spend the rest of your life with and the kids that you bring into the world, it would be really odd to imagine them not riding, right?
yeah, I mean, you'd hope, but sometimes it doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
so.
fair enough. It may be that curse that none of your kids want
Yeah,
to, and we may
right.
look back at this and
Same.
curse me for jinxing you, but
Yeah, at the same time, it's like more of the adventure too of taking a passion and growing it and seeing where it goes. That's all.
explore. Yeah.
It's fun, no matter what it is. Like whether it be surfing or playing soccer or mountain biking. Like
Yeah.
just seeing where you can take that is pretty interesting to me.
Absolutely. That's cool. So, now I'm going to kind of flip it around a little bit and give you an opportunity because I always ask the same two questions, right? So, number one is, in the amount of time that we've known each other, I'm going to give you opportunity. Is there anything you've ever wanted to ask me or thought about that you wanted to ask that you just haven't had a chance? Something you wanted to know?
Personal or I don't.
Whatever you like. Everything's on the table.
I feel like anytime I have a question for you, I just go straight to you.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Anything like there's
Yeah.
nothing that pops in my head.
Okay. No, that's cool.
I feel like we get in some good conversations.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't really have anything. I just take
Okay.
whatever I'm feeling.
Fair enough.
If I think about something, I'm like, I gotta ask Jay. Like, there's a tweak in my neck, or if I'm thinking about taking a supplement or something like
life in general.
life
Yeah.
in general, I kind
Yeah.
of just go straight to you. So
That's actually kind of cool because, as you said, like I feel like we have pretty open conversation and dialogue, so that's very refreshing that you probably.
yeah, I mean, we're always in work early, and if I have something, I'm like, oh, I thought about this last night. Like, I gotta go to Jay's office real quick.
Yeah.
And we'll talk for like a half hour.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
oh, I gotta go work out now.
Where'd the time go? Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think there's anything like I've ever held back from asking you. So
Okay, cool. So the second question, I preface by saying it's maybe a bit morbid, but I always preface it by saying there's always, seemingly, at least in my experience, talking to people who have lived a very full and fulfilling life, and they say, oh man, I wish. So if this is the last time you and I ever speak, right, which again, kind of morbid, but pretend this is the last time I ever speak, is there anything, or maybe more specifically, what would you say to me if this is the last time we were ever to speak again?
last time we ever spoke, what would I say? I don't know. I just hope for the best, I guess. I mean, I just hope you took your life in a good direction and where you wanted to go. I guess,
absolutely, for sure. Some people are very, very pensive and have thought all that out, right? Like, if you were given that last chance to, oh man, I wish I'd said this to my friend or my mom or whatever, right? And you never did. But I think that speaks volumes that, as we kind of alluded to, you and I've had more than a few conversations, so the idea that we've left something not on the table is not likely. Yeah, so that's good, I think. So I'll finish with a series of questions that I always finish with. And in full disclosure, I've plagiarized these from a gentleman who plagiarized them from someone else, right? So there's a dean of a Pace University. His name is James Lipton. And I got these because I started watching this show called Inside the Actors Studio, and I love it. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but given the amount of TV that you don't watch or do or whatever, it's not shocking. But he had used these questions from a TV personality from France, talk show host basically. So I think they're very telling, and I've asked countless people these questions, so it's very like rapid fire, and I just go for it. Some of them, if you feel the need to extrapolate or expand on, then by all means, but
awesome.
We'll go for them. So, number 1, what is your favorite word?
Favorite word? Awesome.
Okay, good. What is your least favorite word?
Ooh, least favorite word. Never even thought about that.
There's nothing that you hear like, oh, like makes me cringe, or like, oh, I hate it when people say that.
Moist?
Okay. Not that uncommon. You're not alone there. That's funny. What turns you on?
Perfect weather.
Perfect weather.
Yeah.
Walk me through that. What's perfect weather to you?
Southern California.
75
Sunny,
75.
If I wake up 75 degrees and sunny and I can go ride, like that's motivating.
Little breeze.
Little breeze.
Helps.
Yeah.
Not enough to throw you off course or anything.
Not enough, yeah.
Nice. So then what turns you off?
Bad weather. I hate rain and mud. Oh, mud.
Snow? You good with snow?
I hate snow. Well, no. I can't say that because I like snowboarding. Mud.
Okay.
Mud.
Mud is
Mud.
your worst
I
enemy.
hate mud.
Everything gets real slippery, I presume.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Okay, fair enough. So rain turns into mud. Big turn off.
Yeah, hate that.
That's funny. What is your favorite curse word?
Ooh. I have to say shit. I'd say that all the time.
Versatile. There you go. Yeah, very versatile. Good. What sound or noise do you love?
Sound of a two-stroke.
Yeah, very distinct.
Yeah, just a good sound of bike.
Nice.
And metal, like music.
Oh, the music. Okay. Yeah, not just clank, clank. Or anything.
No, metal music.
Nice. What sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, there's like, it's that chalkboard noise. That's like one of the worst.
Oh, the thing.
The nails on the chalkboard.
Everyone watching immediately knows that sound.
Yeah. Oh, it's so terrible.
Can't do it. Okay, good. What profession, other than your own, would you most like to attempt?
None.
You would never want to be a mechanic like your dad, or
No, there's
pilot?
There's literally there's nothing. Like I've thought about it. I've been asked it. Like like there's nothing I've ever like strayed towards. There's nothing that's grabbed my attention where I'm like I want to do that. Like,
Okay.
Just want to ride a motorcycle.
Okay, fair enough.
Like
There's all kinds of ways to go kind of divert off of that, and like, oh, what if there's an accident, or what if there's all this kind of stuff? But we'll leave it
that's
at that.
never crossed
Keep it.
my mind, and I just keep it. Ride a motorcycle.
Is there a profession that you specifically would not like to do?
Specifically, not like to do. Honestly, be a mechanic.
Oh, really? Sorry, Dad, but
No, I went to a shop one summer and I worked for him when I was like 14, and I just didn't enjoy it. Like I can wrench on whatever, like I can do all my own stuff, but when it comes to wrenching on hot cars, like I'm sorry, Dad, I can't do it.
it's not your thing. That's okay. Fair enough. Finally, whether you believe it or not, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you get there?
But I can ride.
He's impressed with your skill that he gave you for riding.
Well, I can ride there. I don't know. Like,
Oh, he's giving you permission to ride there. Awesome. Two-stroke. And
yeah. Let's have fun with that.
if it's heaven, then that seems appropriate.
Yeah. So
That's amazing. Cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, I know you need
thanks
to
for
get to
having me.
gym or ride or whatever and do all of those things. For what it's worth, you know, having spoken to some of your peers, I don't hesitate to tell you that you have their respect, admiration, and I think, especially within the show and obviously outside of the show, whenever I speak to people about, riding and trials riders, and whenever we get new riders or whatever, like, oh, Karl Dave's like, dude, that guy's a legit, and your reputation precedes you. But personally as well, I don't think that, well, that's not necessarily true. I think that people see you, right, as a rider and someone who works very hard. And me personally, I see you as even more than that, because I've gotten to know you over the years, and not years, I guess, but over this time.
Feels like years.
And yeah, right. And recognize that, you have a skill set that is not only unique, but is admirable, and that it's very clear that maybe unlike your brothers, there's a lot of hard work and blood, sweat, tears, everything that comes along with that. So, as I'm making this chronicle of everyone I'm interacting with and getting to know and being a part of my life, I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, because it means a lot.
Yes. I'm glad we could do this.
Cool, man. That's awesome.
So
cool. Thanks very much,
Yeah.
and I appreciate your time.
yeah, thanks, Jay.
Cool. All right.
Awesome.
Cool.